sodium and chloride. When I talk about sodium and chloride, I'm actually talking about salt. Now, a question that comes in all the time, Daktari, which salt should we use? Which salt should we use? Himalayan pink salt, Celtic salt, and all that. Wengine wanasema Celtic salt. I'm like, guys, when you're growing up, you only knew sea salt and table salt that is iodized. So the problem is, you've become so aware of information, you've read, you've watched videos on YouTube, and now you're thinking Himalayan pink salt is the best, Celtic is the best. We only know sea salt because sea salt has every mineral that Himalayan pink salt has and the Celtic salt has. So use sea salt. Table salt at least has sodium, chloride, and iodine. However, nowadays table salt is actually so much adulterated because they became criminals. So if you are preferring salt, it's actually 167 shillings, the sea salt. Just go in the supermarket and buy sea salt. And a very small amount of it, the food is already tasting salty. So if you overdo it, problems. Anyway, so sodium, as we were talking about magnesium, we realized sodium is the one that is outside the cell, extracellular fluid. So sodium has to get into the cell, inside the cells, right? Now, when sodium gets in, potassium leaves. But when sodium is coming in, something else has to follow that sodium, and that is chloride. So they always follow each other because all of them are outside the cell. So when they're getting into the cell, they go together. Sodium comes in, so chloride comes in. And then potassium leaves so that it can actually balance the positive electrons or electrolytes in the cell. Now, when you take in sodium into the cell and chloride follows into the cell, there's another thing that follows. Water follows them into the cell. When water follows sodium and chloride into the cell, we're actually getting hydrated. Hydrated. This means if you drink water and you then take salt, you're going to have a lot of water in the extracellular fluid and not inside the cell. So that is not hydration. That is just fluid retention. What we need to send this water into the cells. And the only way to send this water into the cells is to create a difference in osmotic pressure or osmolarity in the cell. It has to be higher. So we must pump a lot of sodium into the cell so that water now realizes, oh, that side is where we have more. So we move there because water follows sodium. Okay, so we create the demand, yes. So when sodium goes into the cell, water follows in, and that is adequate hydration. Do you now see the reason why I tell you people, hey, you know what? Before you drink that water, either lick some salt or add a pinch of salt in your glass of water. Because immediately you drink water without adding salt, the next 30 minutes you're urinating and you're going to flush out sodium from the system through that clear urine that you're urinating. And then the next time you're feeling thirst again, you're taking that bottle of water. So this is the reason why most ladies have very bad skin, even when they carry 2 liters of water every day and they hydrate in the office, they hydrate. They actually get dehydrated for drinking water because they drink water and the next minute they're urinating. They are flushing out the sodium. So as you drink water, make sure in your water, at least when you carry that bottle of water, carry some salt. Every time you drink water, add a pinch of salt. You will get hydrated adequately. You will prevent yourself from going to the toilet. Now, this is for those people who have also been diagnosed with diabetes. Try this tonight. Because you're constantly visiting the toilet because the body is trying to excrete a lot of glucose, which takes water with it. Try this night to simply lick salt and drink water before going to bed. See if you will wake up multiple times to go and urinate. You will not. Why? Because salt will help you retain the water. Ask yourself, why is it that people who have high blood sugars, on admission, they're given sodium chloride? So actually, salt is coming in to treat sugar problems. Salt comes in to treat sugar problems. As you blame salt and you say, you know, salt is going to cause me hypertension because salt will going to increase my pressure. Ask yourself, why is it that somebody who has diabetes and the blood sugars are at 30, possibly this guy is going into DKA, why is he given sodium chloride in form of normal saline? Because salt is the one that is responsible for treating sugar problems. So take salt. If you're hypertensive or non-hypertensive, take salt. Whether raw or cooked, do not allow your doctor to tell you that, you know, cooked salt is better than raw salt. So do not add salt in your food. Cook food with salt and then eat that and then minimize the salt. That doctor is lying to you because he's still telling you to eat brown ugali, which is sugar. He's still telling you to eat natural sugar, which is fruits. Still telling you to take sugar cane, which is sugar. Still telling you to take rice, brown rice, which is sugar. So you're taking in sugar to go and cause insulin resistance, which is actually the #1 cause of kidneys retaining water. So when you have insulin resistance, the kidneys retain water. And now that is edema. That's how you end up having that pitting edema. The edema that when you press your legs, you still remain with a hole before it pops back. There's a hole. That's called pitting edema because of insulin resistance, not salt. Because insulin resistance is the one that will retain salt and retain the water. If you have functional kidneys, take salt, whether raw or cooked. And salt is sodium chloride. Basics. And the most important source of sodium and chloride is actually salt. Whether table salt, Himalayan pink salt, whatever. So as you demonize salt or sodium and chloride and justify sugar, you will remain sick for a lifetime. As you demonize the salt and justify sugar and eat carbohydrates, unknowingly you're eating sugars because the doctor tells you carbohydrates are energy giving. That you know what, when you've taken drugs for diabetes and your blood sugar is going down, please go and take glucose. That thing that you're taking that is called glucose is actually dextrose monohydrate. It's not glucose. Go read on it, read on the box. It is not glucose, it's dextrose monohydrate. That is not glucose. So, oh, you know what? When your sugars are going down, drink some soda. He's actually feeding the disease. You will live in that condition for a lifetime. That's why he tells you it is irreversible. So he has to put you on drugs. You go into hypo, he gives you sugar. Some of the doctors even have sugar in their offices because they know they'll inject you with insulin. You'll go into hypo and now they will give you the sugar. Oh, you know what? So we actually feeding the disease and then managing the symptoms. Playing a game with the system all through. All through. You will never get better. That's why you've been conditioned to think that diabetes and hypertension are irreversible. When I tell you they are irreversible and you believe it, of course, now I have a client for a lifetime. The weird part is your doctor does not even understand that, does not even know. It's the system that actually told him through the RAS system. The RAS system says this, that when you take salt, or let me just make it clear for you, when blood pressure falls below normal levels, the kidneys sense that there's a low blood pressure. So what do? They reabsorb salt, which is sodium and chloride, and water follows. Blood volume goes up, blood pressure goes up. When your blood pressure is going up, the kidneys sense that, they excrete salt, water follows, and blood pressure goes down. From that statement, you know very well that the kidneys are the ones that actually control blood pressure. So your doctor was right up to that moment in time. The only mistake he did is to lie to you that salt will increase blood pressure. Because he is the same person who knows that the kidneys will excrete excess salt. So then how did salt cause high blood pressure? Yet we have functional kidneys that are excreting excess salt from the system. The renin system tells you if you have excess, you will excrete. If you have less, you will reabsorb. So the kidneys, the role of the kidneys is to excrete excess salt. And God was so perfect. He even gave you sweat glands, tear glands, salivary glands to excrete more salt. Your taste buds cannot even allow you to eat excess salt. So God designed you to have a way of excreting salt from the system. But you, dare you, excrete glucose from urine. That is glucosuria. It's a medical emergency. It's an indicator of diabetes. It's an indicator of failing kidneys. And what causes failing kidneys? Sugar in all forms, including fructose and glucose and lactose. Milk sugar, sugarcane sugar, honey, fruits, processed foods, ugali, rice, and chapati, all of them are actually causing insulin resistance, which is the #1 cause of the kidney failure. When you have acute or chronic kidney failure, you are now unable to excrete excess sodium and chloride. Now you retain sodium, you retain chloride, you retain water. Now blood pressures will be always up. So the problem is not the salt. The problem is insulin resistance that is actually caused by sugar. So it's time for us to stop blaming salt for what sugar caused us. Do we understand? So I know very well, somebody who has not gone through a medical class, when you get there and you ask your doctor that question, he will slap you with the jargon. Oh, you know the RAS system, the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. You're like, before you, angio, daktari, wacha. Chumvi ni mbaya basi, nimekubali. Chumvi ni mbaya daktari, nimesikia sitakula chumvi tena. How long have you stopped eating salt? Have you recovered from hypertension? Have you dropped the drugs for hypertension? So you dropped salt. Yes, you uliacha chumvi. We expected when you drop salt, which is a cause of hypertension, your hypertension is going to disappear. You're going to drop drugs, right? Are you still on drugs after dropping salt? Is the answer yes? Has your hypertension disappeared now that you dropped salt 5 years ago? Has it gone anywhere? Why are you not asking him? Doctor, you told me to drop salt, but my pressure is still up. Why? And then the same doctor, when you are admitted in hospital, drugs, they use sodium chloride, normal saline. You have high sugars, they give you normal saline. Normal saline is basically sodium chloride. So why are we using salt to treat sugar problems? And then you're telling me salt is a problem. Daktari. In medicine, the craziest thing is that science is constantly evolving. And I tell you for free, science did not discover anything. Science only documented. All these things were here. Hii mambo mnaniambia research na nini. Science did not discover anything. All these things have been here all along. Scientists only document. So they make sense by documenting what has been here anyway. Now, hapo nimeanza kugwara watu. Unaona wakisema normal saline, it looks like it's something from the skies. Oh, this is a perfect solution from China. It is not. Normal saline is actually salt. Now you see, try this. If you have a small child and they have this clogged nose, before you go to the pharmacy to buy nasal drops, the saline nasal drops, just take warm water, add some salt, koroga, and then let it cool, and then take a drop and drop into the child's nose and see how their noses open up. Hey, the same thing, the same salt that we are saying, this one is a problem. It's the same nose, it's the same salt that opens up children's noses when they are clogged. The same salt that is used in hospitals to actually lower blood sugars when they are misbehaving. But it's a problem, right? Salt is a problem. And then we name it normal saline. When we say normal saline, you're like, normal saline. What is saline? Saline is salt. What is normal? Normal saline is tukisema normal saline, now we become doctors with a stethoscope and a white coat and miwani with the kamba. Miwani zile ziko na kamba, tunakuangalia hapa juu hivi. Now we look so serious. And if we say normal saline, we are good to go. We say dextrose 5%. Instead of just saying this glucose, dextrose 5%. Come on, daktari. Come on. You can't exercise you can't flex on us with those jargons. Now we know it's not normal saline, it's just salt plus water, right? Tuna flexing mbaya. Tukiflex lazima utii. Ukitii sana I'm walking out of that consultation room belching because I just ate chapatis and tea here. Andika hapo day wewe. Dilute insulin in like where. Anyway, let's move. So what are the sources of sodium? But anyway, let me just give you the functions of sodium, right? And anywhere there's sodium, there must be chloride. So these are the functions of sodium. So that you know, it supports, listen, there's no nervous transmission without sodium. Sodium, potassium, and magnesium, they play a very important role in nerve transmission. So you'll have those numbness if you don't have sodium. And guess what? Hypertension and diabetes, they cause nerve problems, right? Because they exert a lot of pressure on nerves. They destroy nerves. Bring in the salt, repair the nerves. Start fasting, drop the sugar. Simple. Look at that. Nerve transmission, sodium. Maintenance of blood pressure, sodium. Kidney function, sodium. Cellular function, no cell can function without sodium. None. Reproduction, sodium. So when did salt become a problem? Ladies, if you're infertile, drop anything that feeds estrogen. Start fasting, start going to the gym, rehydrate with salt and water. Men, if you're having problems with fertility and erections, sodium is coming in because of nervous transmission towards your penis. You need sodium. You need salt. What you don't need is energy drinks in the gym. What you don't need is sugar to help you get energy. What you don't need is a bottle of energy drink besides your bed when you're having sex. There's no energy in that. It's just a psychological thing. There's no energy in that. What you need is water and salt. So instead of that energy drink, at least put a bottle of salt and water besides your bed. And then thank me later. Good. So what are the sources of sodium? Salt, of course. Meats, poultry, potatoes, the sweet potatoes, not the Irish potatoes. Irish potatoes are crazy. By the way, if you have a child and you're feeding them with Irish potatoes, those things are so adulterated. Anyway, what are the sources of chloride? Olives. Therefore, extra virgin olive oil and olive leaves are actually perfect in this. Table salt, perfect in this. Tomatoes, perfect in this, but do not use the GMO tomatoes. Plant your own tomatoes at home. That is sodium, that is chloride. And wherever sodium goes, chloride follows and water follows. Do you really need me to actually go deeper into this and explain to you, oh, extracellular fluid has all this, oh, if you do this, there is an inverse proportion between extra and intracellular fluid. Do you need that? Don't you need the basics? We need the basics.